Yeah. What's up, chat? Happy Friday. Get hype. Man, we got a lot of basketball tonight. Hootie Raj back in the mix.
In the building.
Raj, I feel like
Yep.
if you want to get in a roast battle, I feel like I would win right now. Cause
You most definitely would not beat me.
bro, you out here looking.
Not with your dad.
You out here looking like a ripe banana, trying to give DFS
Shoot,
advice.
yeah.
You out here.
All your girlfriends love this banana. You feel me? Your girlfriends be loving this banana. Stop playing with me. Bang, bang! I tell you, you can't.
You look
play
like
with me.
You look like a rejected minion, right? You look like a post-apocalyptic Twinkie. Okay.
Yo, shout out Alpha League, bro. You look like a roast pig roasting on a goddamn fire, right?
You look like a mother.
Oh, nothing. Put some barbecue sauce on you to be a barbecue pig.
God, I want to put some caramels and ice cream on you. Boy.
I mean, hey, girls do that too. I'll leave that for the kids.
Oh.
Put some caramel and ice cream on me. Come on now.
Ooh, what's up, chat? Happy Friday. It's November 5th, 2021, man. We have got 9 games of basketball tonight to close out the stream week on this channel and hopefully come away with some winners, man. It has been a really nice week. Really a great start to the NBA season, but last night, more screenshots, got some fun DMs on Twitter as well. You guys are out there balling, man, winning at all different levels. It's almost like not exciting. You almost expect it always be placing to just like win a bunch of money. And it's like, and now his screenshots. He hit second in the 100K for 30K, I believe, last night.
Oh my god!
Then he like casually won 20K the other night. It's just like, whatever, bro. This ain't new to him, you know.
Yeah. Light work. It's just every day.
Yeah, but shout out to my boy Devron. He took down was the mini max last night. So like I said, man, we got no egos here. If you're balling on a budget, I don't care where you're playing, the nickels, the dollars, the quarters, the 15, the big boys, man. I just want to see people win, man.
I gotta join this. I gotta join this screenshot club ASAP. Getting left behind out here.
Gotta get in it. What's up, chat? Chat's out here live with the early show hype, man. You guys have just been on fire to start shows lately, and towards the end of the week, there's a whole lot of live shows. So for you guys to choose this one, man, that's so that means a lot. What up, Chronic? What up, Young C, Darren? Channel member Darren, look at that purple G next to that name, man. That's slick. What up, Encore? Scott Duran, Brody, Mia Moore says she likes Raj's hoodie.
They call me the Canadian Pikachu. Pika. Shout out Pikachu. Shout out Ash Ketchum.
Bro, are you shouting out non-real figures right now, or is that what
let's not be. We all looked up to Ash Ketchum back in the day. Who didn't want to be? Who didn't want to catch them all? Get all the shit back. If you would, everyone loved Ash Ketchum. Everyone wanted to be Ash Ketchum.
Yo, big ups to my boy Bugs Bunny, man. Don't let Elmer Fudd mess up the vibes. You know the vibes. What are we doing? Sound out cartoon characters, bro. What's up, Damron?
Ash Ketchum holds a special place in every 90s baby's heart.
I never watched a single whole episode of Pokemon. Like, I know I was.
Whoa! Time out. Pokemon's literally the biggest thing in the world, I would say, from like 98 to 2000. Like, literally the biggest thing in the world.
I missed out on it, bro. I was busy taxing fools, you know what I'm saying? I was busy doing non-nerd stuff.
Damn, no Pokemon. That was I don't know. Pokemon was
no. Shout out to the
moment in
Pokemon
time.
crew. No, I just never got into that. I don't know why.
Hey,
I just never did. What's up, Taylor?
I feel like it's.
Yeah.
Shout out Taylor.
I mean, it has a very passionate, fanatic fan base. So, like,
of course. Oh, we're all sad we didn't keep our Charizards and that are going for like 300,000 now. We're all crying about that, but other than that, it's all good memories.
Mopar says Raj has a wife beater one day, sweater the next. What up, Gun? What up, Mopar? What up, a tribe called Q? Lorenza in the house. Mongo. The Brahm and Ash Ketchum catching all them. What up, Stu? Yeah. Okay. So what a fun start to this one. Guys, we got 9 games of basketball tonight. So a decent size slate, and definitely a size slate that's going to keep us on our toes for news and information. A couple back-to-backs, a couple of big studs on the slate. So we're going to have some fun chopping it up. But you guys know the drill, man. It's an interactive show as we go game by game, man. You guys let me know who you're on. You've already done a little bit of research. Let me know why. I feel like, knock on wood, I feel like it's been very quiet for news. You know what I'm saying? We haven't had that big boy out yet. So we'll see if it happens.
We got that questionable with Brogdon, but yeah, other than that, nothing crazy.
Yeah, right. And we'll go over all of that. But the key news to watch via Underdog NBA, shout out to J-Fan. He's a real person, by the way. Brandon Ingram, questionable. Malcolm Brogdon, questionable. Drew Holiday's probable. LaMelo Ball is probable. Killian Hayes, questionable. And PJ Washington, doubtful. I thought it was interesting that Cade Cunningham didn't make this list because we saw them load manage him in his debut. So after he has a great fantasy night last night, the next night, Killian Hayes questionable, but if we got Killian Hayes information and not Cunningham information, so I'm gonna assume, hey, he's a young kid, he's ready to go. So that's what we're looking at tonight. That's gonna kind of lay the groundwork here. So nothing major there. Maybe we get a time bomb as we go forward, but for now, we're good. Young C says Raj is dressed as a Teletubby.
Shout out Teletubbies. You know, they were a classic too back in the day. Shout out to the baby. No, that baby in the sun. The girl who was that baby in the sun is suddenly fine. I don't know if you saw that meme where that baby that was the son. She like a 22-year-old, baddie, fine.
I don't know if you saw the chat. My girlfriend's watching, and you ain't about to get me caught.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Not today, Satan.
True.
All right.
Got a rookie out here. Got a veteran in these streets.
That's just not how I get down, bro.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's an Andy Mineo lyric that we were just talking about before, like 20 minutes ago. Where it says, "What you not gonna do is slide in my DMs with those nudes." I replied back, "My wife got them too, and I'm gonna take hers if I gotta choose." That's how we roll, bro. Bars. That's how we roll out here. You know what I'm saying? Hoodie Raj will lead us to a takedown. I hope so.
Talk about it. That's the plan. Shout out Danielle for the hoodie love. Shout out Danielle. She know the vibe. Yellow hoodie season.
What's up, Crispy? Wow, he does look Teletubby-ish. Yeah, I guess so. That's another show. Didn't really watch. I feel like I'm missing out on all these like old references,
childhood classics.
These are shows I never watched. But I definitely feel like if I watched Teletubbies, I would not be like grading a female on that show.
No, it was a meme. We saw it. It was literally a baby back in the day, and now she's grown and like she's fine.
Oh,
yeah. It was a meme that was trending for a while.
Cannot relate to chat.
I'll send you on Discord. Like, oh,
Echo. Chat. This stream brought to you by Echoes. You have them? I do. Be sure to get yourself an Echo by turning up the volume. And this is me subtly hinting to Raj that I have an Echo in my earphone. I'm assuming that you hear it on your end, chat. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going crazy right now. Hey, Raj.
Mm-hmm.
I hear an echo.
You hear an echo? I don't hear an echo. I feel like I'm good.
Of course you don't, because the echo's coming from you, bro.
Oh, why am I echoing?
You tell me. Probably because you ain't got a mic. What's in that?
True. You guys send me the link to the one you're using.
Bro,
get on that Amazon order.
Literal $30 headset, bro. My boy Shady wouldn't cop one as well. You know, it's 2021. Everything works. Matter of fact,
this is like $300.
I have two of these. These are so cheap. I just have these laying around, bro. Like,
yeah, I overpay for the beats. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, don't do it. Raj is frozen like a new employee.
No way.
I might have minimized him. That's on me. It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make him do like a crazy pose as a banana. RunDFS.com, guys. The last, is it 3 streams now? We've given away a week pass at RunDFS.com. A couple sponsored week passes. Might do something big again today, Raj. The last 2 streams, I've had almost 120, about average on 120 likes in the last 2 videos. And we have been hitting season high numbers for viewership. So I'm kind of, this push for 6K subscribers, man. I'm kind of thinking there might be a recipe for another giveaway today. So I'm gonna mull that over, chat. But you already know what it's gonna cost. It's gonna cost 100 likes. So if you're out there lurking, hit that thumbs up. And what the prize would probably be is another week pass at RunDFS.com. And if you guys are not sure what that is, man, in my journey to be a full-time DFS player over the years, I started carving out my own spreadsheets, my own projection systems, aggregating and displaying pertinent information that I use for my daily research needs to expedite my process. And then I was like, you know what? I'll open it up, man. I'll share what I'm using for other people with the same passion that I have for fantasy sports. And we're over half a decade deep into an amazing community. And like I said, no egos, guys at every different, and girls at every different bankroll level, just vibing. So if you guys are new to DFS, if you're looking to broaden your horizons or even just be cool and support the stream, go to RunDFS.com. Get yourself signed up to a membership. Last week, we launched our integration with Fantasy Cruncher, meaning your membership with RunDFS.com has that much more utility as you'll get credits toward a membership at Fantasy Cruncher. For multi-lineup management, I absolutely recommend you guys use an optimizer to manage those lineups. And man, Cruncher has been so good, so strong, so powerful, and they are pioneers in the optimizer coding industry. So I couldn't think of a better partnership than this. So check that out. Be part of the fun. We got NFL coverage this weekend. We got NBA coverage. And then, of course, if you get one of these bulk passes, baseball will be back at the end of March, April. And I'm pretty good at that, too. So come be part of the community every day before lock. We're in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Very often, that chat bleeds into post-lock. We talk about some more lingering news. We discuss some late swaps, some prop bets, stuff like that. And it's just a good time almost every day. We've just been in there vibing. So if you're just looking for a good group to hang out, man, that alone is probably worth the membership, man. Damron says, I agree with Raj. I have 2 pairs of Beats and also Steel Series gaming headsets. Bro, I used to be the Turtle Beach. What's the other one with the amp? I can't think of it. I used to buy those $100 headsets, $200 headsets, and then my big head would just break them. Like a month or so of gaming, they would bend, and it was just whatever. These little things, man, these things last, bro. These are like the old Nokia phones, man. And you guys, if you watched the stream last year, I used to have this elbow Yeti mic just in my face, and it was cool for bits and stuff. But this audio is just as good. Like what are we paying for? So
that's a job.
Yeah, so I'm completely happy with these. I don't know, maybe I can get an endorsement deal from $30 headsets. But these things, I love them. Like I said, I got several of them. I just stacked them up, use them for the PlayStation 5 as well. Can't look like $1 million with cell phone Wi-Fi. Yeah, big Snuffleupagus must have snuck in and cranked up Big Bird's volume.
Shout out Big Bird,
bro. These y'all roast Raj with the best.
Y'all really are. They're on the hoodies.
I love it, dog. Raj is dressed up like one of those neon softballs, and there's an emoji, bro. Oh, there's an emoji. Low key though. I can see Serena Williams smacking the crap out of you.
I mean, hey, I'd smack her right back if you know what I'm saying.
Whoa, buddy.
Shout out Drake.
Whoa. Rod's looking like a DeWalt tool. Y'all are violating. I like that one. Anyway,
shout out the hoodie. Shout out Alpha Elite. Make comfortable hoodies.
Yo, you in the shout out mode today. Yo, shout out to actual
Yeah,
just shout outs, right? Shout
no
outs don't get
doubt.
enough shout outs,
Shout
right?
out Damron for
What
the
a
dope
way.
video yesterday.
what a, what an incredible way to acknowledge things, just shouting them out. So shout out to shout outs for just being there
Mm-hmm.
for the people. Shout out to my girl
Shout
for
out to
walking by.
Aquafina Water, the best water in the game.
Shout out to the Brooklyn Nets who are at the Detroit Pistons tonight. And shout out to the starting five. James Harden, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin. Shout out to the opposing Detroit Pistons with Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart. Shout out to that OU, bro. You know what I'm saying? 211, keeping it real. Shout out to that spread though, 10.5.
See, God, when you keep doing that, it's annoying.
Is it now? Is it?
What I do, there's a certain level of swagger to it, so it's all good. You do it slow, like, all right, come on, bro.
Okay.
Get back here.
So, you literally look like a banana peel. Peel his muffin cap back blue, chat. Nets
Shout out banana bread.
Nets and the Pistons, man. We got a modest total here. And we got James Harden. We got Kevin Durant, 10.3K for Harden, 10.6K on Kevin Durant. We've actually seen this game play out not too long ago. And James Harden, I believe that was the game he took single-digit shot attempts and got himself a triple-double. Detroit. He had 10, 12, and 18, 4 from 7 from behind the arc, 9 shot attempts, but 50-plus fantasy points. So now James Harden is starting to work his way as a viable play. He's gotten you 50-ish fantasy points or over 50 in 2 of his last 3 games. So he becomes somebody I'd be okay with getting to today. I definitely think a double-double with assists is well within the realm of possibility here. 10 points right here. Pistons catching night 2 of back-to-back. Mentioned Killian Hayes is questionable. But what we did see yesterday, at least from a fantasy perspective, was the emergence of Cade Cunningham chalk actually delivering over 40% owned and everything that I was in on DraftKings. Dropped 39 fantasy points, 1 from 7 from behind the arc, 17 shot attempts, hit just 4. Not very efficient, but holy cow, the volume is there. 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal to boot. So you got to imagine at 4,600, people can still get to him remembering what happened last night, and then his stock can only go up if Killian Hayes is out. Like I said, last back-to-back, Cade Cunningham set, so I would not be surprised if we got a bombshell like that, or one of these other guys maybe gets a little squirrely, but I think this game, generally a low total and a pretty large spread here. This game is probably not going to be something I'm going crazy with, hanging my hat on. With the Pistons, the names that I'm probably going to pluck away: Cade Cunningham, a shot of Sadiq Bey here and there, Jeremy Grant, and every now and then Kelly Olynyk in like 150 lineups. But Cade Cunningham probably be my favorite option on both sides. He actually took a price reduction last night. I think he was around 5K on Fanduel. Now he's 4,200. He's actually cheaper on Fanduel than DraftKings. And then on the net side, Kevin Durant, James Harden, usually the bulk of my interest. Are you seeing this game any differently than those names? And I'll be honest, I don't see any tier 1 of anyone. And Cade Cunningham as a core value is at least a topic of discussion. I think I'm there on him if he's a full go, 30 minutes of his usage for under 5K. What are your initial leans on Brooklyn Nets at the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah, so Cade Cunningham, if he plays, going to be the chalk of the slate. I kind of want to. I think fading him is great in kind of large field tournaments with 100K up top. Just again, will Dwayne Casey kind of limit his minutes? Maybe he plays, he plays 20 minutes instead of 30 plus he did last game. He could just go back to having a bad shooting night, 10 rebounds, where I don't want to say an anomaly, but I don't think that'll be consistent. So at 4,600 at his ownership, which I think will push 40 to 50% today, I think fading him is fine, but also coring him, he could just get you. If he gets you, 35, 40 plus, you're going to need him. If you don't have him, you're probably dead. Other than that, yeah, like you said, nobody else in this team is really a tier 1 kind of core guy for me. James Harden and Kevin Durant are in play, but I think a guy like Paul George today at the same price as those two guys, I'll take over those two against Minnesota. Giannis with Minnesota winning, I take a stud over those two. So I think they're fine plays, but they're not the play of the slate or guys to lock in.
Yeah, question in chat. Do you know how much Cade Cunningham cuts into Sadiq Bey's usage? So, great question, and a way that you guys can tackle queries like this is by using the Add More Funds tool, which you can get a cool little link if you do exclamation point AMF in the chat. And what we'll do is we'll go bring up the Detroit Pistons. We'll just simply put Cade Cunningham on the court, and we'll let the numbers kind of settle here and see after just a couple of games here what we might get a peek at. We got 28% usage rate on Cade Cunningham when he's out there, 19% assist rate. The fantasy point per minute, not great, but these shots, man, this shot volume has to get better, right? Cade Cunningham, number one pick. I don't think he's gonna shoot 4 for 17, 2 for 14. I definitely think we're going to start seeing these shots start to fall. And he's already shown a propensity to kind of get you some peripherals here and there. So if he starts shooting 40%, 45%, I think Cade Cunningham has a trajectory, a path to be getting close to a 6K plus territory. Again, I'm curious to see where the field is at, but my early projections like him quite a bit. 32 on DK, 36 on Fanduel. Last night, my projections had him over 30 again, and people were like, "Oh, you sure about this? You sure about this?" I mean, you just have to look past the results in every DFS sport and kind of be cognitive of the volume, the attempt, the usage, and the shot volume is going to be there. So if you're going to get double-digit shot attempts at sub 5K and give me some peripherals, I'm in on that. But as far as impacting other players in terms of usage, yeah, Sadiq Bey's usage drops to 15%. Jeremy Grant still holding strong at 30. Short sample size, maybe this kind of evens out in the wash. But yeah, that's how you guys can use this Add More Funds NBA Wowie tool to answer little queries like that. It's pretty simple. Also, maybe I think StatMuse has really opened up to answer some stuff like that. Yo, what up, TJ? What up, Christy Thornton? Best plays on PrizePicks. Give me a little bit. We will jump into some PrizePicks. The PrizePicks plug, and then we'll look at a couple of them. If you guys are out there playing PrizePicks, you already got a couple of calls you're liking. Definitely share that with us when we get there. I would be very appreciate it. Why am I can't talk today? English, holy bro. I got coffee in me. I did an awesome stream for the NFL a couple hours ago. Like I didn't just wake up, but my mouth not catching up with me. Do you know, blah, blah, blah. Christy says, anybody like Bridges over 37.5, Barnes over 33 on a power pick on PrizePicks? I'm guessing that's fantasy points. And I haven't really digested my thoughts on them yet, so I don't want to commit to a hard yes or no. Burbage states that he is ready to play first back-to-back of the season for Cade Cunningham. That's really good news, Renz. Appreciate that. If Jeremy Grant sits for whatever reason, Cunningham would be a lock, and he's already in half my lineups. Yeah, I'm with that quite a bit. Grant might sit. I don't think so. I think we're creating stuff. So 1v1 Norman Powell or Bey on Fanduel at small forward. You are in a weird spot. Right. Jesus. Sadiq Bey's 5,600. Looking at Fanduel, I'm going to assume that there's going to be another option that's not Sadiq Bey or Norman Powell that I would probably be a little bit more receptive to playing. Yeah. I have not processed and digested all of the FanDuel pricings and the multi-position eligibility for today, but it looks like you got around 5,600 for this spot. Sadiq Bey,
he's not like if you fall into him, you fall into him, but I wouldn't
that's exactly right. Yeah, you're in a tough spot. Sadiq Bey or Norman Powell. Gary Trent's in the mix too for me. So I don't know. Those are weird spots, weird 1v1s that I would only consider that 1v1 if it was like a tier. Like I don't really oof. What up, Josh? What's up?
I was gonna say Powell already had his fake game yesterday, so
Let's move on to the next game here. Orlando Magic hosting the San Antonio Spurs. Project starting five for the Spurs: DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Dougie McBuckets, Keldon Johnson, and Drew Eubanks up against Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. He's got hoes calling, Raj, and unlike you, he don't look like... Never mind.
I'm most definitely better looking than Mo Bamba. I'll play.
You got a song named after you? You got a song named after you? That's all I'm gonna say. Yes or no? I don't hear
out Mo Bamba, but
Aaron Judge ain't walking up to the plate to Jalen Carter. So.
Oh, wait for it. Eventually, that R&B dance on Jalen Carter coming. Ain't gonna be no sad love songs no more. So you can get hyped to those songs coming up.
214 our total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the visiting San Antonio Spurs. Orlando Magic, we've discussed it almost ad nauseum now. They have an incredible combination of numbers. First of all, if we look at pace of play, the Orlando Magic are a bottom 5 team in terms of pace, but when it comes to defensive efficiency, they are the second worst. Because of their slow pace, we're often going to be associating their games with modest to low totals. But because of their bad defense, they're paying off some big fantasy numbers from opposing teams. And another thing they're doing is they're rebounding at a bad clip. They're turning the ball over a lot, almost allowing 10 steals a game. So the San Antonio side will offer some guys that pique my interest. Jakob Poeltl on the protocol list, I guess you would say it. So that did open up a door for Drew Eubanks, for Thaddeus Young, and both those guys, you give them some minutes, they can be somewhat efficient here. I set a rule last time to not have Eubanks and Thaddeus Young in the same lineup because I didn't know that their coexisting ceiling would be something that would help a lineup get to the top. I felt like it'd be one or the other. In a sense, that worked out. Thaddeus Young was the guy that I wanted more at the end of the night because he put up 27, 28 fantasy points. Today, he's priced somewhat appropriately on DK at 5,300, but 4,600 on FanDuel. I could still kind of get to that and not feel like I'm losing a lot. And then maybe this is a bounce back spot for Eubanks here. It's all coming down to your personal belief on the minute projections that Greg Popovich will give to this front court. But DeJounte Murray, 9,100 on FanDuel, 9,100 on DraftKings. Definitely think I'm going to get him in the player pool. I'm struggling between a high tier 3 or a high tier 2, and I kind of want to go tier 2 here because his involvement and his ability and propensity to stuff the stat sheet is so good that it's going to give me a pretty strong floor and probably a little bit of upside going against a team that can really complement his strengths, right? They don't rebound at a great clip. They turn the ball over. We've seen two still games out of DeJounte Murray. That'll be a little bit more impactful on FanDuel. But at 9K, if I think 50 plus fantasy points is truly there, and he's gotten you 48 or more in 4 out of his last 5 games. Yeah, there's an overtime game there against the Lakers, but he was doing just fine in regulation. Yeah, roll in the fact that Jakob Poeltl's not in the mix, man. DeJounte Murray has every potential to be one of the highest scoring players for fantasy on this slate. So he's definitely somebody that I've asterisked and jotted down. I just have to wrestle within about how much exposure I truly want. And I believe that'll be something that's contingent on what the field is projected to be exposed to DeJounte Murray. I don't have the pulse on that just yet. I kind of like to process the slate. So give me some DeJounte Murray early on. I don't mind Derek White. Either not as enamored with him at 6K. I'm looking for 30 fantasy points. I do think he can exceed that enough that I want exposure to him, but it'd probably be like a tier 3 for me. And on the Magic side, Raj, this is one of the weirdest teams because there's often viable fantasy production from this team, even though it's so bad in real life that Wendell Carter just keeps spitting out 30 plus fantasy points. Mo Bamba 30 plus fantasy points. Cole Anthony's broken a pair of slates so far, and we've even seen Jalen Suggs have some viable nights. How in like are you with this game? This is a Magic game that only has a 3.5 point spread, so it almost suggests that we could expect a competitive ball game. And if that's the case, who am I maybe correlating some DeJounte Murray shares with? Are you thinking it's the front court, Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, or do you think Cole Anthony is one of those no one's going to pay 7-8K for him, but he can give me 50?
I'm thinking Wendell Carter might be a core piece from me today at 6,400. I mean, when he sees 30 plus minutes, he just gets there. So it's like 35, 35, 38, 39. He just kind of lives in that area. When he sees less, like last game in San Antonio, he played 19 minutes. I want to figure out why that happened, but he still got 27 DKP. So he plays at 35. I mean, that's a possible 40 bomb at 6,500. I might want to core Wendell Carter Jr. at that price there. So give me some of him. I think a guy like Cole Anthony, strictly, large field tournaments, his ownership will be probably less than 5%, maybe 2%, 7,700. We've seen the upside, but I mean, he just has a floor of 20 DKP, so it's tough to get to him at that price. San Antonio side, I don't think I need to get to Drew Eubanks or Young. I mean, they're not even that cheap. Young is 5,300, Eubanks 42. They kind of neutralize each other to really kind of see an upside over there. So I'll probably stay away from that. You mentioned DeJounte Murray. I agree with you there. I mean, I think he's just a walking triple-double upside every game, especially with no Poto. 9,100. I like that in tournaments. I think it's just him and Wendell Carter for me. Nobody else really really screams me in this game. I guess Mo Bamba is an option at 71, but again, with just other options, I'd rather play Wendell Carter in this spot.
Yeah, points per dollar, like I'm kind of with you, but Mo Bamba definitely has an ability to grab multiple blocks, and the rebound should be there for him against an undersized Spurs front court.
Do we know why Wendell Carter only played 19 minutes?
In that last game, yeah, I can probably answer that for you. I didn't look at the foul column, but maybe that's something you can double check because he is a foul prone individual.
He got one foul. So wasn't that game?
You said against the Spurs?
Yeah, we played him.
All right.
On October 20th.
October 20th?
Was that the first game of the season? Maybe that's why he played 19 minutes.
Yeah, probably. Right here. Yeah, it was a blowout, man. 26 blowout at the end of it. And Wendell Carter did not touch the court in the fourth quarter. Bamba did clean it up though. I don't have any other context other than that. It was a blowout. He didn't play the fourth quarter.
It was a blowout.
Yeah. DeJounte Murray without Jakob Poeltl on the court so far has shown a 26% usage rate, a 1.36 fantasy point per minute production on both DK and Fanduel, 107 minutes. Not a lot of sample size, but you're not going to get much more sample size than that for this split here. So I definitely, I think I'll go tier 2 on DeJounte for now, and we'll see if I wrestle that back as we come as we finish the games later on. I'm scared to say words when Damrod's in chat. I just feel like I'm gonna deal with it.
Catchy.
Lorenzo says it's fantasy gun. You have to thought in the potential of things popping up, especially on a back-to-back, especially with a player who goes injuries. Yeah, a couple of these teams with back-to-backs, yeah, you might expect some surprise rest, but if the team's already reported news, I'm assuming this is in context to Cunningham and Jeremy Grant or whatever potentially sitting on a back-to-back. Well, if they've already given us kind of an update on Killian Hayes, I kind of expect all of their news at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I didn't want to watch that rumor start. You know what I'm saying? If it happens, it happens. But I don't want to be the catalyst of misinformation if there's not an actual source to start it that's not us. What ownership would tier 2 be in 150? So tier 2 would probably be something that lands between 20 and 30% for me. Maybe 20 to 40%, like 50 lineups. I still want a core in 150, but you don't have to be as invested in those guys. And then, of course, that's early looks, right? If I come back later and there's another 9K guy that I can't get away from, I might have to adjust those numbers. But the matchup just seems pretty pristine for a guy like DeJounte Murray. And then another moving variable on tiering people this early is later news and field ownership, right? The probability of success, the probability of a player being optimal versus the ownership. If there is a gap in those in the probability versus the ownership, well, then I'm probably going to either get over aggressive or fall back. So that's where I'm at this early though. Tier 2 is probably a good spot for DeJounte Murray as the money train rolls in. Memphis Grizzlies at the Washington Wizards. Project starting 5 for the Grizzlies: Ja Morant, DeAnthony Melton, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Stone Cold Steven Adams. Gonna get one board. What? Up against Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford. 221s our total 2-point spread in favor of the Washington Wizards. The last game Kuzma went to the locker room, came back. I don't see a designation on him here, so I'm guessing he's a full send. We did see Davis Bertans get hurt. He is out, and then of course that's joining the already regular guys out of Thomas Bryant and Rui Hachimura. So we can continue to expect deeper minutes for Kyle Kuzma. We know Bradley Beal is going to play a whole lot of minutes. And then, Raj, I know you're already taking an L over there looking like...
I look great. You ain't been taking no L's ever. No L's. It's a Friday night, baby. Ain't no L's over here.
I know you're already taking an L. I know it. Over there looking like a busted Twinkie. But can we talk about how night one of this season, you came at me with the most obscure garbage take. And you were like, Spencer Dinwiddie is a borderline all-star. Bro, is it time for you to admit you were wrong? You were wrong.
I feel like Spencer Dinwiddie is the second best player on that team. He's averaging 18, 5, and 5. 18, 5, and 5? I think that's pretty solid numbers over there. I'm telling you.
Anyway,
18, 5, and 5 is no joke.
It is not a joke, but that's not borderline all-star. So, L. That'll be your L, bro.
Who's in the East? Who's in the East as an all-star point guard?
James Harden. James Harden by default. Anyway.
I was going to say, what's James Harden's number this year?
Stop it. Get some help.
18, 7, and 8? It's 18, 7, and 9? That's cute. That's not that far off from Dinwiddie. I'm just saying. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie, baby.
This is fun. I do this for fun. Anyway, the Memphis Grizzlies coming in with, get this, the worst defensive efficiency in basketball. That's not good. That's not what you want. 112.7 points per 100 possessions allowed. So it is a potential spot for success here for your boy, Spencer Dinwiddie. I would say his Fanduel price point's a little bit more inviting. But Kyle Kuzma is 6,900 on both sites. How often does he get to 40 plus? How often is Bradley Beal an optimal play? 89 on FanDuel, 95 on DK. I feel like naturally I want to attack the worst defense in the league, but man, there's not really a guy on the Wizards that becomes a comfortable click points per dollar. What do you do with this game? And if anything?
Yeah, it's not the same Wizards from last year, I guess, that you just kind of target teams against. John Moran at 9,400. I think him versus DeJounte Murray is interesting. I think I probably lean DeJounte Murray in today's spot. But at 9,400, he's John Moran. You can play him all the time. But other than that, I'm probably staying away from every other Memphis guy. Jaren Jackson Jr. had a big game last game, dropped 42 fantasy points against Denver. Could I see that against Washington? Sure, but his floor is just so low. He can literally get you 20 at 5-6, which is not what you want. So in tournaments, I think he's fine. On Washington side, again, Bradley Beal, that same price, 9,500. DeJounte Murray, 9,100. Bradley Beal, 9,500. John Morant, 9,400. On DraftKings, that's an interesting, who out of those three guards is going to score the most there. So I think it's obviously kind of a coin flip between them, leading a little bit with DeJounte Murray. But if you want to play Bradley Beal, like you said, Memphis, the worst defensive team in the league. Bradley Beal could have a 50 spot here. Go and get that all day, every day. Dinwiddie at his price point guard at 7K on DraftKings. No, on FanDuel, I think his play on DraftKings, I probably don't get there just because the value guys like Beverly and Cunningham could take up that point guard spot on DraftKings. I think, and Kyle Kuzma, you mentioned again, I'm not running to play him at 6,900. Again, he needs to have close to a ceiling game. Like he needs 35, 40 at that price to make it worth for you. And again, I just think he has the floor at closer to 30, 28. So at 20 lines, I probably don't get to it. If you're playing 50 or 100, sure, with Kuzma, but I'm not running to any of these guys in this game. And this game could be a write-off for me.
Yeah, I feel like at that 9 to 9.5K range, if you're just looking at a guard, right, and think about John Morant, think about Bradley Beal. I just talked about DeJounte Murray. I just feel so much. I just feel like I like DeJounte Murray a little bit more at that price range. But obviously in a vacuum, Bradley Beal can go out there and have that big real point scoring game. But yeah, man, for a game that involves so far the worst defense in basketball, I'm not that enamored with it. Mopar says Rod's looking like a school bus with tinted windows.
I'm the Magic School Bus. We going places. Shout out Magic School Bus.
Yo, chat, I found out a glitch in the coding of Rod. If you ever insult him, he's just going to shout out the insult, bro.
I'm going to say.
Shout out Magic School Bus, right? Oh, I look like a school. Shout out to the Magic School Bus, bro. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's move on to the next game. Milwaukee Bucks hosting the New York Knicks. Project starting 5 for the Knicks. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, resting Mitchell Robinson, taking on potentially, probably, Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We'll see if they shake up that lineup if Drew Holiday is a full go. 217s are total here. 4-point spread in favor of the defending heavyweight champions of the world, the Milwaukee Bucks. So if you throw Drew Holiday back into the mix here for Milwaukee, it does kind of stabilize some of our guard rotation and maybe a little less infatuation with Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, definitely a little less of the George Hill love, but maybe a little bit of help here for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who comes in at 11.8K on DraftKings, 11.3K on Fanduel. It's going to project pretty well, as he always will. It is a slower-paced opponent in the Knicks. He tends to do okay against the Knicks. I got a couple highlight reels. I think it was against the Knicks in the Garden where he jumped over a human being for a dunk. But Drew Holiday officially probable, dealing with a left ankle sprain and illness. Raj, on a 9-game slate, Giannis Antetokounmpo leads the price column by a mile. So generally, for me, that means he has to lead the slate in fantasy score. 60 plus is still a number that I think will hunt if you have enough value. Maybe you got a couple of studs here. Obviously, we're not going to turn down 60, but he's essentially 12K, where 60 is almost like the starting point of him making lineups live. What are you doing with Giannis, who hasn't hit 60 plus in three of the games? So yeah, there's some.
He got 59 last game.
Right.
I mean, it's 27 minutes.
But even 60 is 60 is also a number that if you faded it, you don't feel like you're dead and stinking, right? I do think 60 will be live in lineups that he's in, like if you have the right pieces around it. But I also don't feel like I miss out on, if I don't put 12K on Giannis and I put 10XK on like a PG or a KD or something, like somebody else that can give me high 50s as well. I don't feel like I'm out of the equation here. So I guess the short question is, how much Giannis, if any, are you playing today?
I'm going to play Giannis again. If literally Middleton was ruled out right now, I won't be running to Giannis at that price tag. So I'm going to play Giannis. Don't get too cute with it. I think with the kind of extreme, like the value guys today with Cunningham and Beverly, you can just kind of pay for that 60 at 11.8. Like if Paul George gets you 55 and Giannis gets you 11.8, maybe some of the other 10K guys get you 50, 55. Sure, points per dollar might not work, but with the way, I don't think it kind of really affects your lineup construction that much with the value we have today. So overpaying for a 60 bomb, that still might be the highest score on the slate. I don't think it's a terrible idea today. So Giannis with no Middleton against the Knicks, I'll take it. The Knicks have been top 10 against centers, but with Giannis, I'm kind of just matchup proof. So play Giannis. Drew Holiday, I think it's very interesting here in this spot. $6,500 on DK, no Middleton. Expecting to play his usual minutes now, 35 minutes. I think he can get you a 40 bomb here at 6,500. So give me some of that. And the Knicks side is where I'll probably just fade everyone.
So Giannis Antetokounmpo has scored 60 on the dot or more 4 times in his last 10 games against the Knicks. It's very viable. It's very doable. I think I might be on the let me see what this money can do somewhere else side of things, right? Because a lot of Giannis lines probably don't get to like the 9K range, and I think there's going to be plenty of viability in the 9K range. I keep going back to DeJounte Murray. I don't want to misrepresent how much DeJounte I'm going to have, but that's an example of a 9K guy that likely gets missed out on a lot if you're jamming in Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, yeah, I think Giannis can be fine. If you're on Giannis, Giannis is just Giannis, right? He'll probably always be in the mix for me, but he wouldn't be a priority to me right now. I do like the Drew Holiday a spin there, 6,500. If you think he can get a full set of minutes here in his return to action, 6,500, probably a low price to point to put on him. Remember, no Brook Lopez, no Chris Middleton. Still a lineup that is looking for those that regularity in terms of scoring and usage. So Drew Holiday could pick up some needs. You mentioned, the DVP history against the Knicks. It has been a lot of point guard and centers. Some of the centers that have done well against the Knicks are guys that can be more versatile. Miles Turner just put up a big game, but a lot of it was from the simple fact that he was 7 for 10 from downtown. I don't think Giannis is going to take 10 threes. And if he does, something's wrong. So a little context to the success there. My gaming services just got updated. Shout out to gaming services though. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
So yeah, Giannis and Drew Holiday make the short list for me. I would say, in mass entry, if you got to some Grayson Allen or Connaughton or even off the bench, you're looking at Bobby Portis says you're still life without Brook Lopez. This is a bigger Knicks lineup that maybe Budenholzer has to respond big if it's a neutral game script. Maybe Bobby Portis does get that run. He's able to get you 20 plus fantasy points, but nothing that I'm going to go aggressive with on the Bucks side for me personally. On the Knicks side, anyone standing out to you with Milwaukee being who they are versus the Knicks? It's a little bit of fire and ice, especially in terms of pace. The Knicks are more of a slow-paced team, and Milwaukee, when they're full strength, will likely be top 3, top 2 in pace. Right now, they're top 4, and they haven't been full strength, while the Knicks are bottom 4. So at the very least, that's going to get more implied possessions for the Knicks. More possessions equal more opportunity to accrue fantasy points. I'm thinking RJ Barrett is the guy that I'm kind of keying in on. I don't want to say keying in on, but I'm thinking about points per dollar with Thibodeau minutes. RJ Barrett has the chance to play 35 plus, 36 plus minutes, and maybe this is a spot that would bode well for him. I think we've seen him already kind of be like a sneaky shot at 40 fantasy points in a few occasions, and no one ever just gets there. 33, 37, 56 in his last 3 games. It's going to chuck enough threes to make him viable. I like to target guys that will shoot threes. That's how the Bucks will generally give up most of their points. Maybe RJ Barrett's that guy here that no one loves to get to at almost 7K. Is there any Knicks that are circling the wagon for you? I feel like I can almost make a case for Fournier as well if we're looking for some sharpshooters.
Sure, if you fall into a Barrett or Fournier at that 5, Barrett at 6,800, not a comfortable price tag. He's at 3 kind of okay games in a row. 1 big game, 50 bomb at 37-33, which you'll take, which is fine against Milwaukee. But again, just it's not a core piece for me. Even Fournier at 5,600. If he keeps chucking those shots, again, the floor to me is just so low with these guys that would I sprinkle them in? Sure, but as core pieces, tier 1, I don't even think tier 2. These would be 10 percenters at tier 3, if that.
Yeah. Oof, boy. Nah, the bottom of the coffee had a little couple greens in it. Wasn't expecting that. And then going from coffee to I had some cranberry grape juice. Shout out to cranberry grape juice. You know what I'm saying?
You can only mix cranberry juice with vodka, baby. Shout out cranberry and vodka. That's the only mix that works with cranberry juice.
I've never done the alcohol, so I can't speak on that.
True.
Where are we at, chat? How many viewers we got right now? We got a little over 100. Chat, get them likes up. We'll do another week pass giveaway. All you gotta do is get to 100 likes, be subscribed to the channel, and we'll do another week pass giveaway at the end of the video. That'll be 4 days in a row.
Hit the like button if y'all mess with cranberry and vodka, chat. Hit the like button.
Can do it, man. Vodka just like it smells too, but I've never.
Oh yeah, it smells like nail polish remover. It's not. It just like it gets the job done quick. Essentially, if you just want to feel, I don't know, buzzed.
If I, if I ever did the alcohol, I feel like I would start with like a beer. But
Yeah, that's more just a chill thing. If you want to get smashed, you just gotta take a couple shots of vodka now, a couple shots of tequila. You'll be going to Narnia.
How to get drunk with rods.
Hey,
You look like a fermented banana, bro. Can you get drunk off of that? No. By the way, bananas do be dripping fluid. By the way, learned that one the hard way. Cavs at the Raptors. Shout out to Segways. Project starting five for the Cavs: Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, D Wade in the mix. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Bonds, and Precious Achua. 204.5 is our total. 5.5 point spread favor the home team Raptors. That's a really low total, and we're watching two very low paced teams. With high minute projections to kind of unstoppable force and movable object our expectations and our process. Let's start with the Cavs. Cavs lost Kevin Love and Lauri Markkanen, and everyone was excited to play Cedi Osman, and instead the Cavs start out Dean Wade, and not only that, Evan Mobley, who we, were a little bit more infatuated with, thinking about the potential minutes he could see in that game, played 40 minutes against the Blazers and only produced 26 fantasy points, double-digit shot attempts, but just could not be effective for fantasy. While we're there, in that Cavs front court, Jared Allen also got 40 minutes, and he made a little bit more out of his 40 minutes than Evan Mobley did. 9 for 15 from the field. He's a dunk-centric kind of guy. We'll chuck an errant three. 17 rebounds. That's 2 games in a row of 16 and 17 rebounds. The other peripherals come the blocks, the steals, 50-plus fantasy points in 2 games straight. I'm not going to say that you expect Jared Allen to drop 50 every game. But this isn't an anomaly, right? We've seen Jared Allen do this when you give him minutes. When he was on Brooklyn, he has this in him. If Kevin Love and Lauri Markkanen out means we might have 40 minutes of Allen or Mobley, 6,600 seems a little too cheap going against a Toronto Raptors team that, yeah, they do rebound all right, but Allen is an elite rebounder, and they also give up a lot of blocks, and Allen's an elite blocker, averaging a block per game so far. So people might go hot hand here and chase the most recent ceiling game out of Allen, but I would probably have exposure to both. But Allen, of course, does win the teeter-totter on the seesaw. But Jared Allen at 6,600, Raj, 20 lineups, 9-game slate. How bullish you think you're going to end up being on Allen against your Raptors?
He's a core piece of mine tonight. I'm talking 60% at a minimum, maybe push 80%. 6,600. We've seen the upside. The Raptors can't really guard him with who they got at center. I think Allen should have a big game here. Core piece, lock and load, Jared Allen. I like a couple of these Cleveland guys. I think Darius Garland against these Raptors, don't play a lot of defense there. 6,500. Coming off of a good game against Portland, 19 and 10. I think another double-double spot for him with the assists. 10 assists is a little, slightly fake, but even if you get you 8 assists, couple stocks, you can get you that 40+, which is what you need. The Raptors side, Scotty Barnes is on a tear, just getting you 40 every night. Now it's against Cleveland. If he plays this 36, 35 minutes that he was playing before, I think it's another 40 spot right here. Going right back to Scotty Barnes. Guys like Gary Trent and then Steve McCallick was doing great when Barnes was out, especially Steve McCallick, 35 minutes the past couple games. His minutes should drop down, so probably going to get off of him. I think you mentioned earlier Gary Trent. He's going to chuck. I don't think he'll take 22, 16 shots like without Barnes, but I think he'll still take 13, maybe 15 shots. At 5,500, he can get you a 30 spot, which is okay. Other than that, I'm not getting to OJ. I'm going to be at 8K. With Barnes back, I just think that price tag is slightly high. Could he get you 40? Yes, but at 8K, you probably want a 50 bomb. VanVleet at 8,800. Again, it is the Cavs. Could he drop you a 50 bomb? Sure. But man, he needs it at 8,800. He's one of those guards that falls into the DeJounte Murray, the Ja Morant kind of price tag. So he's probably the fourth guy on that list. So it'll be kind of tough to get to. So for me, it's core piece of Jared Allen. I think Scotty Barnes could be a tier 2. Maybe a 20%er, 30.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fred VanVleet, right? I'm like, man, 37 minutes against the Cavs. 40 plus is the expectation. I think there is a percentage of the time that he's going to exceed 50 because of the minutes played. I'm kind of looking at the path to success against the Cavs lately. And when you think about last year, they were a top target for me. I guess officially, if we look at the team DVP chart and the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, sorted from most points to least points allowed to opposing players, Cleveland is bleeding fantasy points to point guard. So if I get an opportunity to dip into that with a 37-minute guy, close to a 40-minute guy, the last couple point guards against the Cavs, Damian Lillard, LaMelo Ball, Chris Paul, Westbrook, Reggie Jackson. I'm looking at a bunch of point per minute or point per minute greater production. Man, Fred VanVleet is just speaking to me. Maybe I land a little bit more on that $600 salary saving from Fanduel, especially considering that he averages over 1.5 steals per game. If we look at that team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet and look at steals allowed per game, the Cleveland Cavaliers are turning the ball over the second most in basketball behind the Rackets. Hey, cut down on that racket. Yeah, I'm thinking about VanVleet, and then the steals, not just from a VanVleet standpoint. The Anunoby, he's a block and steal guy. The team can be block and stealing. So I for a 204.5 total, I'm a little bit more interested in the Raptors than I probably should be, but it's a lot of it has to do with the high predictive value in the minutes that this team will play. They don't get too deep to the bench, past like Birch, a little bit of McCallick, right, a little bit of Boucher. And then on the Cavs side, I do think Darius Garland a little bit soft priced here. Projections like him to pay off his price point on both sites, 59 on FanDuel, 65 on DK, mid 30 fantasy point projection on both sides for me. And then Jared Allen, like I said. So maybe Garland and Allen rise up as my two favorite Cavs. Below that, you could get to some Saxton and Mobley for me, just kind of as a, okay, I have exposure to him in Massfield. But in 20 lineups is Garland and Jared Allen for me. And then Fred VanVleet. I'm on the fence with Anunoby and Scotty Barnes, guys like that, just because they're priced at a uncomfortable spot where I don't think their median to high-end median projection is a massive bargain. But I definitely understand the case for it. And then I feel like every time I look up, Gary Trent's having himself a solid game, and he's another guy that could benefit with some of those peripherals here. So for a low total, I'm a little bit more enamored with this game than I expected to be. 30, 40, 30, 30. Gary Trent's gotten you 30 plus in 4 of his last 5 games. So yeah, maybe I can ignore the high price on a guy like Anunoby and still reward myself with a positive matchup. Chat, let's get caught up on chat here. What's up, chat? The Pivots, his beer is mildly popular. Dang Lazy Mofo says, even this man's liquor choices are for the brand, never change.
Talk about it. Appreciate the love.
Man,
Chat knows.
Of all your hot takes, apparently your alcohol is one of the more egregious things. I can't speak. I don't do it. Hey,
God is not a man of the alcohol culture. He's a good one.
The Clippers at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Project 35 for the Clippers. Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac taking on Patrick Beverley, Anthony Edwards, Josh Okogie, Jaden McDaniels, and Karl Anthony Towns, the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd. Chat. I'm about to ask the man with the yellow hoodie how curious he is with playing George.
George, I'm with it. I'm with
even
Paul
get it.
George. Was that a joke? I missed it. Yellow George, Yellow.
Curious George, the man with the yellow coat. God dang it, that was so good. You don't even understand, Raj. Like, dads everywhere are shedding a tear of how proud they are that I was able to incorporate.
Okay, so I just Googled Curious George. Okay, first episode was 2006. It's a cartoon. I was 12. Why would I be watching?
Curious George? It's a generational cartoon. You uncultured piece of.
There's no way. There's no way I grew up watching Curious George. That's for like kids who were born in 2000.
I mean, I didn't watch it either, but you see the books, whatever, man.
There's no way.
Paul George is 10.4K on DraftKings, 10.8K on Fanduel, 60+ fantasy points. This is kind of a run it back game. Paul George and the Clippers against the T-Wolves. We just saw this game play out. Paul George dropped 53. He's getting you 60 in 2 of his last 3. Is 10.4K on DraftKings a little too much for Paul George, or you think it's just fine to have high tier 3 exposure to him?
I'm thinking tier 2 for Paul George. At that price against Minnesota, this matchup 10-4, come up from a 55 bomb. I'll lock and load with it, especially because I really like a lot of Anthony Edwards, Patrick Beverley, and Karl-Anthony Towns. Bringing it back with the Paul George. He'll be a tier 2 for me. Definitely probably, in terms of stud, if I'm going to rank him just out of guys who I'd want, he might be the best. Yeah, I'd probably play him over Giannis and Durant. Paul George here at 10-4. So of the 10K guys, he's my go-to guy. So give me some Paul George. Other than that, on the Clipper side, I'm going to stay away from Reggie Jackson and Eric Bledsoe. Just not consistent enough for me. Minnesota side would be interesting. I think Beverly's just a lock. 4K. We saw last game, kind of that revenge narrative against the Clippers. Give me all that. Drop 36. I think 30 bomb at 4K is right up his alley once again. So give me all of that. Anthony Edwards. Give me all of that again. 50-point upside at $8,500. I mean, that price tag, again, he's right in that DeJounte Murray, Fred VanVleet, those guys at guards. He might be my favorite guy with no D'Angelo Russell. He's going to chuck 21 shots last game, got you 47, 50 bomb at 8,500. I'll take that all day, every day. And Cat, I think people will be down on him because he kind of let the world down. Only took 16 shots last game against the Clippers, 36 minutes, dropped you 46 DKP. That could easily be a 60 bomb. This could be a 25 and 15 type of spot for him. I think that's just a bit of a down game for him. So with people being down on Cat, I think going back to him is a great tournament play.
Yeah. Patrick Beverley, let's have a conversation. Patrick Beverley's 4K on DraftKings, 5K on FanDuel. He's always been a peripheral first guy. And I think when you think back to the T-Wolves game, we were all there on Anthony Edwards. He was the cover boy of the stream that day. Of course, Karl-Anthony Towns was there. Malik Beasley picked up all of the infatuation by the field, and nobody wanted to play Patrick Beverley. And then he showed up, and for fantasy, he balled out. One of the things he did that I won't forget is, up until that point, I'll bring up Anthony Edwards' game log here as an aesthetic. Up until that point, Anthony Edwards was getting you them rebounds. You know what I'm saying? 6, 11, 7, 9, 9, 6. So his rebound prop was sitting at 5.5. And the homies were jamming the over every game. And it just kept hitting. And they were like, oh, D-Russ is out. He's going to do it again. And then Patrick Beverley was like, hold my cranberry and vodka. I'm so
talking about it.
And he took 10 rebounds, and it was his lowest rebound game of the season. Almost triple-doubled, was 2 assists away. Patrick Beverley, never going to be a high shot volume kind of guy, but he can get you there for fantasy if he's going to get the minutes. If D-Russ being out is a path to projecting Patrick Beverley at 30, 31 minutes, probably going to be there at 4K, right? Cade Cunningham, Patrick Beverley, we're getting some of these cheaper value options today, and I don't want people to be maybe over excited about Beverly, but even before the 30 minutes, point per minute with the peripherals, that was there. And he's got a little bit of a knack for being a emotional narrative kind of guy. Going against a team like the Clippers, he's got a couple friends on the other side. I like Beverly on DK. FanDuel, you can make a case to, maybe he's priced appropriately, but I think DK is giving me some meat left on the bone. I think Anthony Edwards, I'll be there on him. And Malik Beasley, for what it's worth, was like right. Like I wouldn't not be there on Beasley again. Maybe he's not a core value play like he was the other night. We kind of learned that hey, just 20 to 30 is still probably the expectation or the
Some
range
of the
of
peripherals
outcomes.
that Beverly got could go to Beasley in any game.
Maybe,
You know
but
what
there's not a ton of overlap. Like I'm not expecting, you know what I'm saying,
I mean?
like one starting. So I'm fine with still being on Beasley, but of course I'm dialing it down to like risky value instead of core value. But Beverly on DK at 4K. Do you see yourself being, if you're running 20 lineups, over 50% of Beverly just to rack up periffs?
Yeah, I mean, I might just start 60 to 80% of lineups with Beverly, Cunningham, Allen.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So there's definitely plenty of like super viable guys at every price range so far. It feels like I guess we haven't really identified a lot between the 6 and 7K to feel enamored with. And I guess even between the 7 and 8K, we didn't love people there. But man, we're getting a lot of 5 or less and a lot of 9+K guys to kind of fill the need here. I think Paul George is somebody that I'm going to get to just by happenstance, especially if I can't quite afford the 11.8 on Giannis, 1,200 for Paul George, who has 60 fantasy point potential. I'll be okay with that. Reggie Jackson also had a big game last time out. Is this going to keep up? We have seen the T-Wolves give up some decent games to opposing point guards. I don't expect 50 fantasy points. I don't expect 29 real points, but hey, the shot volume's been there. 15 plus shot attempts from Reggie Jackson is not an anomaly. Like it happens. The 8 assists is a little up there. Yeah, and the minutes are there too. So I'll probably get to some Reggie as well. Probably tier 3, but I'm gonna be on Reggie, and maybe this is a game that I can correlate with some stacks. I was reading the in the Discord earlier. I mentioned always be placing last night. Hit for another 30K because he's insane and he's not human, and that's all he does is win. But he was talking about how he loves, not loves, but he was talking about sometimes he falls into game stacks, and then when those games start hitting, they hit. This feels like a game that could kind of go there. Like the total is kind of modest, but Reggie Jackson can justify that price point. Paul George can get there. In a weird world in 2021, Raj, Nick Batum can justify 4,600. We've seen him get you 30 or 27 or greater, rather, in 3 of his last 4. That just sounds better.
Yes.
And then, like you said, on the T-Wolf side, the absence of D'Angelo Russell creates Anthony Edwards' floor rises. We know his 50+ fantasy point ceiling. We know Cat could be 50+. We know they can coexist, and now Patrick Beverley's there. So potential game stack viability here, and I'll definitely reflect that in my lineups tonight as well. Chat, if you're on that, is also let me know. Let's get caught up on chat. By the way, we are at 56 likes, 120 plus of the realest DFS OGs in existence hanging with us. Hit that thumbs up. We're going to be giving away another week pass to rundfs.com at 100 likes. We've done it every day the last couple days. So if you want to keep up the vibes, man, to end this week, the stream week on this channel strong, hit that thumbs up. It's free. And then subscribe, because in order to win the week pass, you got to be subscribed. To type in chat. Shane Alexander says, the man in the yellow that made me shed a single tear. These young bucks don't understand. You already know, man. Dad jokes on another level. Sheriff gonna get you. What's up, Sheriff? What's your gut feeling on Zubac? What's the chances he actually plays 30+ minutes back-to-back games? It feels trappy. Yeah, man. Why are they not running Zubac with confidence? I guess I know
so weird.
Isaiah Hartenstein is pretty doggone good when he's on the court, man. He gives me a little bit of Jokic vibes. I'm not saying Jokic, saying he's Jokic. You know what I'm saying? Bars, man. That
wasn't it. That wasn't it.
What?
Jokic. Nah.
Come on. He's not Jokic. He's Jokic.
He's Jokic.
Come
you know
on.
what, man? I kind of grew on me real quick.
Come on,
Jokic,
man.
Jokic.
Bro.
What we think in chat? We'll give him that. What we give him that out of 10?
That's a dub. What are you talking about?
Jokic. Let's see what the chat says about that one. What we giving that one, chat, out of 10?
Yeah, man, it's hard to trust that on Zubac, so I usually don't get too flimsy at my center spot. So I probably won't. be there unless it is like reflected in a game stack or what have you. But at center today, obviously we got Giannis as center eligible. We got Cat. I guess the top end of center is not that thick. Jonas Valanciunas is around at the 8K range. So yeah, maybe we could punt the center spot and pay up for some of the bigs, right? The Steph Curry, the Paul George, guys like that. So I don't hate that thought, but the risk is certainly there, and that's probably a risk I would reserve for the 100+ entries and not the 20. So depending on how you're attacking the slate. 34 minutes against Minnesota last game, 24 fantasy points, so it still wasn't something that you had to have. And when you leave your lineup, he gonna leave with half. Eye roll. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I think I don't know. None of these are hitting, guys.
That's my own girl, bro. What?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, she knows. She's speaking facts. Danielle, let him know, man. Speaking facts.
I thought that was a bar. Man. Let's move on. Golden State Warriors hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. Project starting 5 for the Pelicans. Devontae Graham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, maybe Jonas Valanciunas. Taking on Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevin Looney. 214s are total, 9.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Golden State Warriors. Ingram has missed a slew of games, so I tend to reserve my expectations on situations like this until he's in. That's how I played it last slate. He is dealing with a right hip injury, so evidently they're being cautious with it. So we have to wait for that news. Hopefully we get it early, but more than likely at a 10 p.m. tip-off. We don't get that until midway through the slate. Then Herb Jones is dealing with a concussion, so there is at least a chance that we don't have Jones or Ingram. And if that is the case, we would be able to raise the floor in the projection, minute-wise at least, for Josh Hart. Maybe guys like Trey Murphy get in the mix, Garrett Temple. None of those guys really tickle my fancy. I'd be more so leaning on Devontae Graham and Jonas Valanciunas if I'm just isolating guys that I think have at least a ceiling. Maybe NAW gets in the mix as well. But let me ask you about the Warriors here, Raj. In a league that includes the Miami Heat, the Utah Jazz, the Chicago Bulls, the Denver Nuggets. Did you know that the Golden State Warriors have a better defensive rating than all of those teams, including the aforementioned Miami Heat, who kind of got dog last night by the Celtics, but whatever. 97.3 points per 100 possessions. Is it real? Is it fake? Is the pace and that type of defensive efficiency sustainable? I don't think they're going to be a bad defense, but maybe not the number one defense. And with that in mind, as a 9.5 point favorite, you and me have been on the Jonas Valanciunas train. Are we getting off the train at 87 in a spot that could get a little lopsided against a defense that can get a little tight? What are you doing with this game?
So if you go and look at the Run DFS spreadsheet, you'll look at the center positions. Golden State's been they've been elite. They're top 5 against centers. So I mean, I look at it first. I look at this game like, all right, you're gonna stack some Pelicans here. If Ingram's out, give me Hart, give me Jonas Valanciunas, give me Graham. Hey, look at the defensive rating. They're elite.
Let me pump the brakes here a little bit. Just play a little devil's advocate, because there are people that they're like, if you look at DVP, you're hurting yourself more. Those people are dumb. Put context to DVP. Like, DVP can definitely be helpful to identify trends. Let's put context to that DVP. You ready for these names? Mason Plumlee, James Robinson Earl, Steven Adams, James Robinson Earl, and then Rashawn Holmes.
Yeah.
Now Rashawn Holmes was over a point per minute, and so was Steven Adams. Yeah. But when you go against that collection of names, your numbers may look a little bit better. So that's another maybe feather in the cap of, is the strength of schedule or lack thereof maybe hyping up this defense. 2 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have one of the worst offensive efficiencies. And again, that could be dually correlated, right? They could be a little bit closer to average and vice versa. So I'm not gonna let me give up on J-Val, because J-Val's, if Ingram's out, he's probably gonna lead this team in usage and probably fantasy point per minute. So I just wanted to interrupt you before you got a little too deep with a little context. So with that in mind, if JVal's 8,600, 8,700 on DraftKings on a slate with not a lot of top end centers, how enamored are you with JVal? We'll say if Ingram's out again, for late night hammer purposes, who has the ability to do what JVal can do at
If
that
Ingram's
price?
out, yeah, if Ingram's out, I'll probably core. I mean, again, I'll start every lineup with Jared Allen, J Val, Beverly, Cunningham, and I'm totally okay with that all day, every day. So if Ingram is out, give me all of it. Even if Ingram's in, I still think at 8,700 there's some upside there. He was dropping 50 bombs with Ingram,
Mm-hmm.
even a couple 60 bombs. So again, after you put that context in the DVP, I think I'm gonna have a lot of him, probably a tier 2, maybe a 40 center. If Ingram's out, I mentioned Josh Hart. I think kind of becomes the core guy. Devontae Graham at 6,600. I think he has plenty of upside. Like I said, they've been elite defensively. Once you look at the teams they've played, I think they'll normalize. They'll be middle of the pack. Not necessarily top 5, but 14th, 15th in the league in defense. So not a team we're going to be too scared of. So give me J-Val, give me Hart if Ingram misses, and some Devontae Graham. The Golden State side, I mean, Curry at 11-4. Is he going to outscore Giannis? I think I'm leading Giannis over Curry here. So I mean, I probably won't get to a ton of credit because of that. We mentioned the guards in the 8 and 9K ranges that we really like. So if Curry drops you 50, it's not going to get it done with guys like Jonathan Murray, Van Vliet, Anthony Edwards. Well, probably going to get you 40 plus and with upside of 50. So he needs a 60, 65 bomb. Needs a Curry special here with that one. Draymond Green at 7,300. I think he's always intriguing at that price. Always can get you those baby triple doubles, 12 points, 12 assists, 12 rebounds. 7,300 against the Pelicans. I don't hate it, but probably not a core piece for me. Other than those two, I'm really not looking at any of these other pieces like Wiggins or Jordan Poole on the Warriors.
Jordan Poole coming off a career night.
Oh, Charlotte, but yeah.
It was. It's New Orleans, but yeah. Steph Curry, a great example of a guy I'm probably going to have a lot of on FanDuel and maybe wishy-washy exposure on DK. The discrepancy in price, 11.4K to 9,800, is pretty staggering, especially with what I can do with the rest of my lineup. So that's probably all to be transparent. That's probably how it's going to be reflected at the end of the night, where I'm not going to get crazy with Curry exposure. And you mentioned Curry versus Giannis in a 1v1. Yeah, I mean, even the spread itself would probably lean more towards Giannis. And Giannis, of course, can be a little bit safer with his peripherals. So I would agree with you there, but I'm going to have some Steph Curry for sure. And then, yeah, I'm a suck for J-Val, man. Jonas Valanciunas just has the ability to be a problem, a monster. So I'm in on him, and then that's kind of it. I don't want to get too crazy with these other guys, but I do think in Mass Century 150, I'd probably get to a dab of a pool of an Andrew Wiggins, something like that. And I still think Draymond Green has a chance to be 40-plus fantasy point type of guy. I'd probably be more interested in shopping his prop bets right now. And that leads me to PrizePicks.com. I got to get that set up, right? You guys want to play some prize picks? You guys want to do some prop betting? I'll tell you what, you can do so without having to open up a brand new account. That's my webcam. Boom, there we go. Being a producer and hosting is a lot of fun. Check out PrizePicks.com, man. It's an app you can download on your mobile device, your iPhone, your Android, your Windows phone, whatever you got. And you can also just access it on your desktop or your laptop and start going against the projection, not against 100, 150 lineups, and just sweat the player and not sweat the 9 games. So if you guys are already doing the research, you're already going game by game, you're looking at rebound rates, paces, totals, all that stuff, why wouldn't you want to diversify your daily spend and maybe get a little extra back to reward that research? So I highly recommend it. It's a whole lot of fun in the Discord. While people are sweating their lineups, they're like, all right, this game's about to tip off. What do we want to do? And people, they're throwing it together, tickets together. It's great. So check it out. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, we'll put a link in the chat. You will get up to $100 bonus on your first deposit. They're gonna match your first deposit up to $100. So you're like, you know what, Gun? I'll try it. I'll throw $20 on it. they're gonna make that $40. You can put together a couple cards. All you gotta do is find a couple projections and numbers you like. We'll pull it up on the screen here and decide: do you agree with the projection? If you do, you probably don't touch it. Do you disagree with the projection? If you do you think it's too high or too low? Obviously, if there's projections too low, you want to bet the over and vice versa. So what I like to do is I like to reference my own projections. I have the player props tab in the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, and I'll sort it by fantasy points. This is the same NBA official fantasy points that Fanduel also use, so a lot of you Fanduel users can almost 1-to-1 the transition here. And I'll look at a couple of guys that are up at the top, and I'll see, all right, who do my projections like that I can maybe find an edge on over there if their projections are a little bit lower. So I've got Fred VanVleet at 46 as a name to remember, and I guess I got Kevin Durant at 48. So we'll go 46 on VanVleet, 48 on Kevin Durant. So what I'll do is I'll go to PrizePicks. We already have the NBA tab open. It'll default to the single stats where you can bet the points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers made. You just click this button, you go over to the fantasy score. And now I'll look for, actually I do like DeJounte Murray quite a bit too. So let me control F DeJounte while we're here. I think DeJounte was the bet I was behind on the last stream too. They had him at 38 and I had him at like 40. Yeah, like today. I got him at 45.8 and they've got him at 39.5. So I like him for 40 plus against one of the worst defenses in basketball, the Orlando Magic. So I'd probably take DeJounte Murray over. Then we talked about guys like Kevin Durant. And VanVleet was the one I was most interested in. And VanVleet comes in at 37.5. And my projections kind of got VanVleet for 46. So I got a little bit of movement there. So those are two that I would probably put together, bet the over, fire it off, let it ride. You can power play it. And depending on how many entries you have in your ticket, you can get up to 10x your entry. So $100 turns into, or excuse me, $10 turns into 100, 100 turns into 1,000. Or you can flex it, play a little safer. So if you miss one, you can still get some money back. There's plenty of ways to play it. It's a very, very fun form of fantasy meeting prop betting. So check it out. Show me some love by showing them some love. And then it's just a whole lot of love going on. And what the world needs now is that yellow hoodie to be burned after this stream. Oh my God, look at that thing, bro.
It's booming.
Okay, now you make me feel bad, bro. This is like a love roast, and I thought you were crying right there. My bad, bro. That hoodie's fire, looking like a turtleneck, but it's fire.
I was looking at what to order on Uber.
Oh, bro, your reaction made me feel like a horrible human.
Oh, no. I was like, do I really want this? What do I want right now? Some Chinese, maybe a shawarma. I don't know.
Some Chinese. I had some Subway for lunch. I'm basic.
That's not good. Shout out Subway, always coming through with some good sandwiches.
No, shout out Subway though. Shout out to the bread.
Yeah.
Nason Ottersbach says, "Give me Lillard as a pay up option. Look at dude's shooting log. He going for 60 sooner than later." I like that, Nason. That's why we were sticking to our guns on Cade Cunningham. The shot volume's there. It's gonna start hitting eventually. AP says Lockett and Cunningham and Pat Bev, bad call for 150. So 150, you feel like in a 9-game slate, that's an aggressive stance.
150,
now,
you don't need to do that.
With that said, my boy ABP last night locked in Shake Milton, Cunningham, I believe someone else. However, it's a 5-game slate, and those guys were undeniable values. And then, of course, the Utah Jazz opened up to where the entire roster since 95 hit value. It was wild with Donovan Mitchell out. Especially when you think about how slow that game started. So yeah, there are slates where I do that, but it's usually going to be a night where where a value plays at like 40-50% own, and I just can't see the failure rate. Montrezl Harrell a couple weeks ago, the first slate after Gafford was out, Andre Drummond went on, and Joel Embiid is out. Like those are nice that I'll take that stance. But at 150, it feels like a unnecessary risk because you'll probably have enough leverage over the field, typically at 50%, 60%. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to tell you how to run your lineups because, like I said, everyone has their own process. And sometimes, hey, you put it all out there. When the core hits, the core hits. But in terms of, just mathematical probability, not probability, but having mathematical leverage. You don't need to have 100% to be leveraging the field unless you truly believe that there's no way Patrick Beverley isn't the optimal play, not a good play, the optimal play at his price in that matchup, and the same for Cade Cunningham, right? What up, Scott? Says, how much do you game stack gun? You mentioned LAC and Minnesota earlier, so it really just depends on the game and the prices, right? I can't game stack, a game like, I don't know, if the Nets ran into the Bulls or something like that, like you wouldn't be able to game stack because you got a bunch of 8K, 10K guys. But there are games where you run into 5, 6, 7K teams. Yesterday, the Utah Jazz, a great example, right? I think Rudy Gobert was the most expensive guy in the 7 to 8K range. Everyone else was 5K or less, and it was pretty balanced, and they distributed their fantasy points well. So I would say that is a little bit contingent on the game. But with that in mind, as a reference, the Clippers in Minnesota, you can get away with Edwards running at Paul George because of the lower price on a guy like Reggie Jackson, a guy like Patrick Beverley, Nick Batum's under 5K, and we've seen him drop 30 a few times. So there is a path to doing it here, and then the bigger the slate, the more it is easy to kind of slide in the pieces. I don't always game stack. I will sometimes correlate individual players. Like for instance, sometimes when SGA is on the slate against a stud team, I feel like in order for him to do well, the other team's probably going to do well, and vice versa. Otherwise it's a blowout. Like it's a little bit complicated. But in terms of just generally speaking game stacks, I want to see a good game total and decent prices to go back and forth. Even looking at the early game, as low of a total and pace where you might expect for the Spurs and the Magic, the Magic outside of Cole Anthony, pretty obtainable in price. You can get to Wendell Carter, Jalen Suggs, okay. It wouldn't break the bank on FanDuel at all to get to 6,500, Mo Bamba, and then past the Dejounte Murray. You can see Derek White, AU Banks, or Thad Young, somebody getting there. So there's times where you can spot out 2v2s and stuff like that. But it's not a hard rule for me. It's just like if I'm doing my research, it's like, you know what? I can probably get to stacking this game. I'll do it. I've seen stacks so far. Like I like stacking against the Magic quite a bit. I like stacking against the Hornets quite a bit. Foreshadowing. Where we at on likes?
Good old 69.
69, that's it? All right, chat. We need 100 likes to give out a week pass. 120 130 viewers. Like I said, there's a lot of other live streams today, Friday, a lot of NFL content out there. So maybe 100 is pushing it, but hey, last 2 days we've hit 120 plus. So if we only lose 20 likes, we still get the 100. We're reaching our goals of 6K subscribers by January 1. Let's talk about the Pacers at the Blazers. Project starting 5 for the Pacers: Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Duarte, Karis LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner taking on Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Yusuf Nurkic. A 223.5 total, a 5-point spread in favor of the home team, Portland Trail Blazers. I'm talking like a robot. On the Pacers side, Malcolm Brogdon listed as questionable, and we have seen Karis LeVert push into the high 20s in terms of minutes. That's a good to see him grow minute-wise. He can be one of the brightest stars in the game. 31 minutes against the Knicks. Very good sign. And now he's under sub 7K, so we might get to that area where people aren't going to play him. I would say if Brogdon's in, this becomes a pretty balanced lineup. So it's hard to kind of lean one way or the other in terms of who's going to pop. But if Brogdon's out, man, that might be something to late swap into if you got a couple of lineups that need some creativity to up its potential or save its so some of the buffs already in it, right? We mentioned Damian Lillard in chat, 8,500. He continues to be in the 8K range on FanDuel. He hasn't really popped at that price point, but we talked about it, man. If you believe in the numbers and you believe in regression, progression, getting back to the mean, Damian Lillard's one of the guys that we don't expect to be below average for long. And 27 shot attempts against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 20-plus shot attempts in 3 games straight on the road. And even with those shot attempts, he's almost paying off that 8,500 price tag on FanDuel. And one day he's going to hit a couple extra shots. He's going to shoot 10 to 15 shots from behind the arc, and he's going to just catch fire, and video game Dame's going to arrive. At least that's the hope, and that's the expectation. And he's throwing in these assists to boot, 8.5 assists per game right now. So on FanDuel, I'm all about some Damian Lillard hammer action. Hammer time. You can't touch me. Hammer time. I like Damian Lillard quite a bit.
Bars.
You don't know about that. You literally don't know about that. They don't know. Lecrae. Actually, you might know about that one because no, that wasn't an MC Hammer. That was Lecrae, and it's a secular artist too. I can't think of his name. But yeah, what do you like about this game? Damian Lillard is somebody on FanDuel I think I'm going to gravitate towards a lot, but I don't have any hard leans on the Pacer side. We'll say that Miles Turner feels like he's either break the slate or break your lineup. So good luck figuring out which one. But he's a guy that plays more stretch 4 than 5. Sabonis will do a lot of the 5 work. 10 threes against the Knicks, and we've seen him at least at this DK price achieve value more. I don't want to say more often than he hasn't. But he's really overachieved at 6K more often than he has completely killed you at 6K. So he might be somebody that slides into my optimizer and I get more than I want. But I really don't have a ton of reason to push back because the volume has been there and the ceiling has at least been there, even though the boom potential still exists. What are you doing with this one?
So if Malcolm Brogdon, midday questionable with the illness, if he sits out, I think Karis LeVert probably becomes a tier 1 for me. Saw 30-plus minutes last game. Still got you 38 DKP with all the guys there. I think it's kind of his show when Brogdon sits. They're not using Sabonis like they did before. So I think Karis LeVert gets a lot of that usage. So at 6,800 on DK, give me all the Karis LeVert if Brogdon is out. You mentioned Miles Turner. At that 6K price, we see the upside. You'll take 40. We see the 50-point upside against Portland. I think he has a shot to do it again. Obviously, 7 for 10 from 3 is not going to be, happening every day. But he can get there with some blocks and some steals too, which Portland will give up a ton of. So, Miles Turner at 6K. Give me some of that. I like him at that price tag. Probably going to no Sabonis today. Again, he's just not being used the same way he was last year. I don't know if he's a 9K player anymore consistently that'll get it done. I think his floor is literally mid-20s. We've seen it a couple times now in the past few games. So as a 9K player with the floor like that, I could see his price coming down to maybe the low 8s and then maybe consider playing him more consistently. Portland side, you mentioned Lillard's not going to shoot bad forever. 9-9 on DK is tough. FanDuel price probably a little more there. So give me some Lillard on FanDuel, probably not on DK. Norman Powell, he had the game last night, shot 9 for 16. He picked up some peripherals, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He's usually not a peripheral guy. Back-to-back games of 22, 23 real-life points. That's more style. So at 4,700 on DK, if he gets you 20 real-life points, get you a couple stocks, 30 DKP is very viable. So I don't mind him. Does seem a little chasey, though, after a big game yesterday. But other than that, I'm probably not going to get to anybody else. Nurkic is always interesting to me. I feel like he should just be doing better. But again, his floor is 7-3. Past couple games, 21, 28, 37 DKP. He just has such a floor here that I'm probably not going to get to, especially at the center only spot. Get up a center spot for him. Tough.
Yeah, I think the Pacers really come down to the Brogdon news for me. And then I would make some stronger decisions. But right now, no one's reaching out to me. I'm not ready to give up on Sabonis as quick as you are. Still averaging 20 and 11, right? I think there's a world where that's going to hit. I would like to see the price get back into the 8s. That's where I loved playing him last year. He was high 8s, and people just weren't privy to his potential, the high minutes and the high usage. But yes, as Brogdon grows, as Karis LeVert grows, as Chris Duarte, right? This isn't Justin Holiday, right? This isn't a nobody shoved into the mix. Sabonis is not going to be as high of a floor play day to day, and evidently as Miles Turner grows, right? You think about last year, Miles Turner really wasn't this involved, and so far he's been involved. So that has to come from somewhere, and we're seeing it come from Sabonis day to day. So yeah, I'm in agreement with most of that. We got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause, and we'll go through some questions, chat. We need 20 more likes to give out that week pass of RunDFS.com VIP membership. And if you guys are unfamiliar with RunDFS.com, you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. But RunDFS is the mothership of all things me and my premium content. I guess not all things, but most things. So if you guys have ever been curious to see where my player pool ends up closer to lock, you can have access to all that type of stuff through the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. Raj, yesterday I did a whole stream, and the context of the whole stream was I had an expectation of Joel Embiid being out, and then almost immediately when I get off the air, Joel Embiid intends to play, and I was like, well.
Mm-hmm.
I just did a whole stream about how I probably lock in Andre Drummond, blah, blah, blah. So there is very often times where stuff changes dramatically. And I didn't really talk a lot about, the potential for Donovan Mitchell to be out. And then, of course, he was out. So I was all about some Clarkson and the whole lineup. So a lot can change between now and lock, and having access to the spreadsheet, if you really do care about where I'm at, is a good way to kind of keep tabs on that, and just also keep tabs on my personal projections that I'm using to build my lineups out. I have projections coded for DraftKings, Fanduel, and Yahoo and PrizePicks. So if you guys are looking to have a point of reference to navigate your action on those sites, I definitely have that. And then, of course, the easy to navigate charts for team metrics, the DVP, all that good stuff. And then, most importantly, in my opinion, access to the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. Vipers are in the chat, right? Let them know. We get in that Discord chat, that voice chat. You ain't even gotta have a mic, man. Just listen in, talking to chat. If you're a little, if you don't have a mic, if you got a lot of background noise, and you can still be part of the conversation. Or if you're just looking to make some friends in the space, man, turn your mic on and join the conversation. Make some friends. It is a very diverse group of folks, and it's a lot of fun every day. So add that to your daily process. You can do so by going to rundfs.com, clicking VIP memberships, scroll down, find the pass that's right for you. And remember, every pass right now gives you extra utility with the built-in credit to use towards a Fantasy Cruncher subscription. You don't have to get it, right? Hey, God, I'm a one lineup man. I ain't got time for that. That's fine. But check this out. Let's say in another 3 months you get some more time. Yeah, I ain't got time. Usually I ain't got time, but I got time today. These credits actually stack up. You can come back later and burn X amount of week passes because you got all these vouchers stack up, and you might even be able to test out a week or a month for free based on how many of these vouchers you have stacked up. So be sure to check that out. It's a huge value added to the sub. We are at 82 likes, 18 likes away from 100. Let me get to a question from Jim Parrish. Jim, of course, a channel member of the YouTube channel. Shout out to all you guys that clicked that join button below and became supporters of the channel itself. You guys make it worth it, right? The ad revenue is high on YouTube, but it's not great. You guys really do make these videos happen, especially on a free level. And then, of course, like I said, if we get to the 10 plus goal, I'll probably do at least one live stream a week, maybe a Saturday live stream, or maybe a pre-show stream, something like that, where I can hang out a little bit more with you guys and talk some stuff. Maybe build out some cruncher rules and stuff like that. I've been dying to do an NFL stream, but it's just so hard to squeeze that into my schedule right now. But Jim had asked, hey, Gun, what's the main player to lock on the slate tonight on DraftKings? I have 18 lineups tonight, so I'm trying to find the main lock on the slate. So if I wanted full exposure to one player on a slate in X amount of lineups, it's usually going to be an undeniable value player, right? There's going to be volatility in the 10 plus K guys, whether it be injury, whether it be poor shooting nights, whether it be blowouts. They're just going to be a higher stress sweat. So usually if I'm going to lock one guy in, it's going to be a value play that I can't say no to. And I think this slate gives you a couple of great options in the value department, especially on DraftKings. We've talked about Cade Cunningham, to curtain call what he did last night, and just like Damian Lillard, if he starts hitting a few more of those shots, he becomes an even better play. And then maybe a guy like Patrick Beverley, who in the absence of D'Angelo Russell thrived in the same matchup against Reggie Jackson. The minutes could be there again for him, so he would be somebody I like quite a bit. So Beverley, Cade Cunningham, Anyone else up here that's popping for me? No one especially. So those are probably two guys that I could lock in and just let it rip, right? A multi-position eligibility on a couple of those guys. You can film the guard spot as well. And that will probably give me a healthy balance of what I want elsewhere. And then if you wanted to reach down even deeper, what was Thad Young on DK? Thad Young is forward center as well. He's 5.3K, so I'm not going to force that one in there. But probably Beverly and Cade Cunningham. And then Cunningham has a chance to become an even maybe more lucrative play if Killian Hayes is unable to go. So those are the two that I would answer that question with, right? Ralph says no Robert Covington. Did Rocco get ruled out? Let me see. Or was that just like a no to I'm not playing Robert Covington?
Yeah, I'm not playing. I don't see any news like that.
Okay. Hiccup. Lorenzo said yes, best family in the world, run DFS. Lorenzo, he was in the YouTube chat forever. And finally got in there, and yeah, he's part of the daily chat. And like I said, man, we grinding, we got each other's backs, we sweating sweats. And we'll do it. Raphael says, how do I get in the Discord? It's a premium perk, right? It's a premium perk. We don't just let everybody in there. But if $20 is something you don't really care much about, you want to get a little bang for your buck, go to rundfs.com. And once you do sign up for a membership, click VIP portal, and that'll have spreadsheet links and a Discord link. It'll also have the rundfs.com logo that a lot of us use in our contest. So you can rep the set, Wody, year.
Yep. It's on me?
No, I was making a gang reference, bro. I don't know. Thoughts on Karis LeVert at 7.1 on FanDuel if Brogdon does play. So if Brogdon did play, yeah, I wouldn't be as enamored with him because I still have I'm skeptical about LeVert's ceiling in terms of minutes played. So I don't know. I probably wouldn't force it. I do feel like small forward's a little bit thin on FanDuel today, right? It's a lot of high end, and then the mid tier is a lot of guessing. I think Anthony Edwards would probably be the best option points per dollar. So I don't know, LeVert wouldn't become a priority by any stretch. But I guess at 7K, I think there's going to be a window of opportunity on LeVert where people don't play him because they're not sure about his minutes or his potential floor to ceiling usage in the with Brogdon and Sabonis and all those people kind of eating at it. And he's also a guy that will get you those stocks, 3 blocks to steal last game against the Knicks. So I think he's playable, but he would be a low tier for me and only something I would probably land on in mass field, 100, 150 lineups. I don't think I would get to him in 20 or less because Anthony Edwards is just right there, right? Patrick Reese is up, bro. What position do you think we can give up for stars and go with value? And what position should we look for stars for sure? So on DraftKings, we already talked about the 2 value guards, Beverly and Cade Cunningham. And I do think there's some other floaters around. On FanDuel, I think there's still some girth on Thad Young. A couple of centers that might be underpriced. We'll talk about one of them right now. Because the main event tonight is the Charlotte Hornets at the Sacramento Kings. We still need 13 likes. Get that free week pass. LaMelo Ball, maybe. Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee up against the Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Mo. How could you be so heartless? Rashawn Holmes. We got a 231 total with a 2-point spread. The congregation asked the preacher man about game stacks. Yeah, this is a game stack. What? Holy cow.
Sorry, my boy Harrison Barnes.
Maybe. So we mentioned that the little maybe there next to LaMelo Ball, just to get the skinny, the 401. What? The update. What? The scroll higher. There we go. He's probable. All right. LaMelo Ball's probably. He didn't get that one. Come on, dog.
No, I'm missing him. Maybe because I'm really hungry.
Stone cold, bro. LaMelo's dealing with a right hip contusion, but he's probable. So it should be a full send on the Hornets. What? So I this would become a game stack game for me because 1, it's clearing the rest of the field in terms of total, and 2, man, I love me some bad defenses going at it. First of all, damn right, not today, Satan. First of all, let's talk about Rashawn Holmes on DraftKings and why he is probably going to be a tier 1 for me. You ready for this one? 6,500. Casual player opens up his game log. What? He only got 16 minutes? What? Man, he got ejected and was crushing it. Points per minute, 20 fantasy points, 30 fantasy points at the Utah Jazz in 33 minutes, man. Go Bear, that front court, that ain't something easy to do. 43. Rashawn Holmes, points per dollar, probably one of my favorite plays on the entire slate today. And I can't see myself not getting to an aggressive amount at 6,500 today. Hopefully he doesn't get ejected, but I like Rashawn Holmes to be points per minute or even greater against the Charlotte Hornets. We look at the Hornets here and their overall team metrics, man. They have been paying off team stacks because of two major reasons. One, their pace. The Charlotte Hornets have a top 5 pace in all of football and all of basketball, which is going to create more possessions, more opportunity to accrue scoring, and Sacramento's been more league average, so pace up spot. And then defensive rating, meaning points allowed via possession, so we're getting more possessions. Charlotte's allowing the 4th most points per 100 possessions, 111.3. A lot of implied points there. Meanwhile, Sacramento not far behind, 110. So 2 bad defenses going at it is what you want. So on both sides, there are names that stick out. The name that was most prevalent to me was that of Rashawn Holmes, at least on DraftKings at 6,500. Just feel like there's a lot of meat left on the bone at that price point, 40 to 50. I said it. 50, Raj, is a viable range of outcome here. I think you spin the wheel, make a deal. It's a little bit more volatile, getting Halliburton to Buddy Hield to De'Aaron Fox right. But I think one of those guys will be right. Your boy Harrison Barnes is viable. And then on the Hornets side, $8,600 on LaMelo Ball. Yeah, I'm into that. 89 on DK. Yeah, I'll get some of that. And then Miles Bridges. It's freaking bubble.
He's coming through. He just keeps coming through.
In the weird game that the Warriors stepped on everyone's neck except Miles Bridges, 12 for 22, 9 rebounds. Peripherals are there, 40-plus fantasy points. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to invest in some Miles Bridges today. I like this game quite a bit. There's plenty of late-night hammer options for me. You can give me LaMelo Ball and Bridges. I will run it at Rashawn Holmes. I don't have a strong handcuff to Holmes, but De'Aaron Fox continues to get way too cheap on Fanduel, and my algorithm continues to give me an egregious projection on De'Aaron Fox. Spitting out 50-plus fantasy points on Fox. And he hasn't come close to that more often than not. But, man, I'm going to trust the system and trust the process. And I'm going to keep playing De'Aaron Fox. 37 minutes against New Orleans, 35, 39. I mean, the minutes are absolutely there.
You keep burning money. He's just not that dude.
I mean, honestly, this is the Damian Lillard approach, right? Fox is going to be he's not going to always be a below average play. So I think as long as he's still going to take double-digit shot attempts, it's still going to give me the peripherals. In my opinion, just looking at
his usage is down though. It's not even like he's playing bad.
For me, the results here is starting with Halliburton versus starting with Buddy Hield. Halliburton has the ability to be a facilitator. He's averaging 5.5 assists per game. Buddy Hield didn't quite do that. Buddy Hield chucked shots. So I do think those assists are coming away from Halliburton. So I'm not as aggressive on Fox.
But I'm Barnes resurgence.
Sure.
Taking shots away from Fox. I'm telling you, that's not the team.
I'm going to keep playing him. But yeah, he's not going to be a tier 1. But Rashawn Holmes won for me on DK. And then, like I said, Ball, Bridges. You can make cases here on Gordon Hayward, 6,500, right? He's so cheap on FanDuel. Terry Rozier's 5,500 on FanDuel. The entire Hornets team really, really cheap. Could be a stackable spot. Game stack and team stacks. Raj, what are you leaning to here?
I mean, like you said, I think full game stack. I want to kind of rank them on Charlotte guys. I'm probably going LaMelo 1, Bridges 2, Gordon Hayward 3. Sacramento side, give me Harrison Barnes 1, and that's a great price for him, 50-point upside in the spot. 2, I think I'm probably Holmes is intriguing at 6,500 against Charlotte.
Intriguing? That's a lock.
I mean, but look at the centers. We got J-Val. I think Jared Allen's a lock. You got Wendell Carter, who you can put at center. So I mean, I'm just saying because of the other centers.
No, intriguing is not the word. That's a lock. What do you mean?
I mean,
bro. No, that's a
past
lot.
4 games, 4 fouls apiece. He played 16 minutes last game. He's not as much of a lock as
Hold on, stop. You definitely have been more worried about your DoorDash than me. He got ejected last game, you bozo.
I did not know that.
I literally opened up. You don't listen. You don't listen.
It's 100% happening.
You're
but bot. I mean, I'm saying the fouls are a little worrisome too. You know, he could be a little bit of a hack.
I'm not worried
so
about
I don't know if he's a lock.
What do you mean a foul? He's a literal lock. Stop it. He's a lock. He's a lock.
So you got tier 1. You're talking right there with Jared Allen.
He's above Allen for me. What do you mean?
No,
in 20 lineups, I will literally lock Rashawn Holmes on DraftKings. I will literally have in 20 lineups. I will literally have 20 out of 20 Rashawn Holmes. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I think.
Don't get me wrong. Allen's a great play. I'm gonna have a bullish amount of Jared Allen.
Yeah, but J Val's better too.
Yes, but there's still some pushback. Points per dollar. Who's gonna overperform their price point? I think Rashawn Holmes blows 40 fantasy points out of the water 50% of the time in this matchup. Like, that's incredible. Like, I think he's too cheap. He's too cheap.
He is cheap in this matchup. Again, I'm with it. You can play everyone on these teams. I would still do Harrison Barnes 1. 2, see, even a guy like Buddy Hield, this is a spot for him where he can just chuck a lot of threes and get there. At his price, too, 5,600 on DK. I kind of like that, and he fits in well around these kind of 9K guys and a couple value guys that fits him on a price that he just fits really well. So I like him. Halliburton, I think, is a little bit of a chase coming off his big game last game. He's more of a 25 30 DK guy. Last game got you essentially 50 with 4 steals and 2 blocks. Not something he's going to do again. You know what? So maybe Holmes is third for me on this team, next to Barnes and Hield, then Holmes.
Yeah, but Holmes is 1. On DK, Holmes is 1. He's just 1. By the way, shout out to Austin and Isaiah for grabbing week passes at RunDFS.com. Man, hope to see you guys in the Discord. Chat, you guys got any fire takes from here? Let me know. I got itchy hands, bro. We winning money tonight. Sheriff, go and get you. If you had to stamp one, who's getting your stamp? Jared Allen or Rashawn Holmes? So I know, like, I'm huge on Holmes. I literally mean it. I'm gonna have Holmes locked in 20 lineups on DK, but that's not at all to push back on Jared Allen. If Jared Allen's getting 40 minutes of opportunity, 50 plus fantasy points is real for him. I don't know that I double down on that and go 100. But I definitely am tempted, right? Like, Cat is fine, but 10.7K, you got to do a lot. Everyone else in the middle, man, even J-Val, literally going against the worst defense. We don't know if Ingram's going to play. You know, he doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily a lot to blow 87 out the water. If my approach to DFS is find 4 or 5 guys to core, and the core for me are guys that are egregiously underpriced for whatever reason today, whether it be a guy's out, whether it be just a site error. Jared Allen fits the bill there, but I do think there might be some volatility in a Mobley game or whatever. I just don't see that much of a failure rate for Rashawn Holmes, Sans injury, Sans ejection. I just think he's in that good of a spot going against this team. I mean, just one of the fastest paced, highest scoring games. How many implied possessions are here? How many implied shots? How many implied rebounds? And Jared Allen is great, but Rashawn Holmes also has 40 to 50 fantasy point potential, and people forget that about him. So, and the other thing I like about him, late night hammer, bro. Late night hammer time. I love it.
I'm always with the late night hammer.
Lorenzo said loves the Holmes call. Jim says Holmes projected for 35 fantasy points tonight. Right, and even 35, right? That's on the nose of, okay, I'll take 35, right? 6K, 6.5. The 7K, I need the 40 plus, but I do think 6.5K for what's likely to be at least a double-double is too low, and I do think this matchup breeds a ceiling. If you had to, what else we got? What about Miles Turner? He's been smashing this year. Yeah, Miles Turner is also forward eligible, right? Or no? No, he's not.
No,
He should be, but he's not. I think he's fine. I think his bust potential is a lot higher here. Last game he shot 7 for 10 from behind the arc. It's a little anomalic for anyone to shoot 7 for 10. But I do think he's fine. I think 30 plus fantasy points is a really realistic expectation against the Portland Trailblazers. I'd rather take my shot on Holmes versus the Hornets here, but that's not a pushback on Turner individually. But I just think there's less resistance and less path to failure in my estimation for Rashawn Holmes versus a Turner. And the same with like a Jared Allen. I know 40 minutes for Allen is huge. I know he's going to probably get you 15 plus rebounds and some stocks. But as a dunk-centric kind of guy, there are games where double-digit shot attempts just don't happen, right? 3 dunks or 7. Single digits isn't out of the realm of possibility. I don't want to put anyone off of Jared Allen. I'm just explaining the risk of the floor of risk here. I think it's a little lower on Holmes, and for me personally. Let me look at points in the paint allowed, because this would definitely make or break my Jared Allen case. Toronto, oof, god dang.
Bang, bang.
Toronto,
bang, bang.
No, Toronto's allowing the second fewest points in the paint. Jared Allen's going to score almost all of his points in the paint, right?
Because Chua and Birch aren't really, elite level defenders. So that's an interesting stat.
Meanwhile,
put that into context.
Meanwhile, the Hornets are top 10 in points in the paint allowed. Yeah, okay, something to keep in mind. Where we at on likes? Did we get to 100? I'm gonna be sad we didn't get to 100. 91. No update. All right, let's say $20, right?
Say
$20.
No free pass today.
Say $20. Chat, if you're out there, you want a free week pass, hit that thumbs up. Fire away any questions, comments, concerns you guys might have. It is getting close to 4 p.m. So I don't know. I guess we'll do the vibes. Tomorrow morning, I'll be on the Awesemo channel with EMAC talking about the Saturday slate. I don't have any plans in terms of produce content for the afternoon. Like I said, if we got to enough subscribers or members on the channel, we might. But I do like to get weekends off if I can help it. I do think this video will get to 100. We're at 94. A couple of you guys watch on a delay. Rod, should I for the one time, Rod, should I give away a week pass here? 6 away, and I think we get it. I think we get it.
Yeah, so, we're 4 more away. Yeah, 4 more away. ASAP, hit the like button, y'all. 4 away.
So we'll do it real quick, chat. I'll get it set up. Make sure you're subscribed. Otherwise, you will not be eligible to type in chat. We'll go to giveaways. We'll go to complete. We'll complete this. And then the process is you're going to type ! giveaway, and you're going to then if you win 5 minutes, we open it up. Type your Twitter handle in the chat, and then reach out to me on Twitter and give me your email. While that sets up for the next 5 minutes, I'll fire away some questions, see what you guys might got, and then I'll get out of here, and I'll be in the Discord voice chat up until lock. Taylor Steiger says you like Holmes as much on Fanduel, not as much as 7K. I still think he's very viable because I do think 40 plus is very, very, very viable. What up, Hoops Breaks? What up, Joseph? Anything else that I missed? What do you think of Dame time tonight, and why he's been so underperforming for fantasy? Well, it's a pretty easy answer, to be honest. He's not hitting shots, right? The volume is there, but the success rate on the shots is not. And if you believe in regression to the mean or progression to the mean, it's got to be coming, right? You're going to take 20 shots a game. You're going to take 10 plus shot attempts from 3. Maybe you believe in his home road splits. I think positive regressions on the way. I did think that, in the last couple of years, we've seen Damian Lillard have to play during stretches without McCollum, without Nurkic, and maybe those guys kind of raise I would say lower his ceiling and floor ratio. So I expect his median expectation to drop, but not to 30 fantasy points, not to 40. So I do think he's going to come through sooner or later. I'm way more enamored by his Fanduel price than his DK price. So I do think he's going to be fine, especially on Fanduel. But that's why he's underperforming, is he's just not hitting shots. And I think that could change going forward. What about Miles Turner? He's been smashing this year. Yeah, agree with that.
We had 105 likes.
That's what you want. That's what you want. What up, Tony? Ricky, you like Bobby Portis tonight? Maybe he starts because of New York two bigs. Ricky, I think that's a great thought. Like, I like that you're there. Definitely makes sense for Budenholzer to respond to Dibs' big front court. I don't know if he'll start. Maybe Giannis, I think, still catches a start at center. Thanasis in the mix, but I do think because of the size of the Knicks, and I do think they got Taj Gibson and Noel finally both active. Yeah, I think there's a path for Bobby Portis, and I still think Bobby Portis without Brook Lopez, if he's working into his conditioning, like, he's gonna get minutes, he's gonna get the runs, and he's gonna produce on a per minute basis. And being forward eligible is really, really nice. 22 minutes against the Pistons, over a point per minute. That's what you expect from him. If your logic is it's a big matchup, maybe Thanasis gets into a little hack trouble against Julius Randle or Mitchell Robinson, something like that. I definitely think the need for minutes is there. And if you're a fan of progression and, a guy that they might be building his conditioning, every game so far, he's seen more and more minutes. So maybe Budenholzer slowly creeping him up. 15, 19, 22. Could he get to 25? Is 25 good in this spot? I think as a point per minute guy historically, yeah. As far as drawing the start, maybe. I wouldn't need it, but maybe. So I think you're thinking great. I think that's the right spot, or the right track to start thinking like that, appreciating matchups and thinking about how coaches would approach those matchups, and really applying game theory to your player pool creation. Cole Anthony tonight, I don't have a ton of Cole Anthony early, but I definitely understand it, right? 60 plus fantasy points is an outcome for him. Is it a likely outcome? Well, we don't really know, but this season we've seen it twice, right? So if you believe in that, the matchup itself, we've seen point guards do all right against the Spurs, and I think that game has a tight enough spread for me to believe that someone's going to do well. So Cole Anthony would be the guy for me. For fantasy, I'm way more enamored by Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Bamba. I didn't hear about Curry. I think he's too expensive. I'd rather play Poole. Thoughts? I think Jordan Poole's floor is a lot lower than you would want it to be be extra aggressive on him. But you think points per dollar, sure. But Poole's last game was a little bit of an anomaly. 30 real points against a porous defense like Charlotte. Yeah, it's a porous defense in New Orleans. But I think your more modest and median expectation for Poole is probably mid-20s, maybe to 30, and 5'8" for 30. Is but it's not groundbreaking. So we'll see. I think we'll see if the field is overreacting to the last game. I haven't looked at ownership projections yet. I'll put a finger on the pulse here in a little bit. But he wouldn't be a priority ever for me, just because I do think his boom bust potential is not enough to be a high tiered guy. Or not where I want it to be a high tiered guy. Love to see it. Good luck to you. I appreciate that. Wouldn't chase full note. Yeah. What up, Lazarus? You doing all right? Let's go. All right, raffle's over. Let's do it. Let's draw it. Immediately following this chat, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Raj,
I'm gonna get some food and I'll be in the Discord.
Raj, I'm gonna shove you in the freezer and make banana bread.
Shout out banana bread. Gotta love good banana
this
bread.
Guy. Anyway, chat. Let's do the giveaway. Let's pick a winner. Tony Cantillo. Let's go, baby. Put your Twitter in the chat and then DM me on Twitter. I'll know it's you. Give me your email and we'll get you set up. Chat, I'm headed to the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. You guys can get in there with a membership of your own. We got NFL this weekend. Tomorrow morning, check me out on the Osmo channel. Chop it up the slate. We'll be back Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central for the breakdowns. If I don't see you before then, I love you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Crush it tonight. Thank you for making part of my day be part of your day. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.